see. I have it pulled up on another window here. All right, I think we are live. Let me refresh here and just make sure it's caught up on the channel. There we go. All right. Um, all right, I'm just gonna get into it, and hopefully people start filtering in. I'm excited, man. We've been talking about doing this for a long time, and
yeah. Oh, hold
I
on.
finally,
Wait a minute.
yeah. Oh, my dude. Thank you, man. That's dope.
Oh, hey,
Oh,
hey. Oh, are we? You got me in the middle of
that's right.
something.
We're yeah. Sorry to interrupt. What an incredible story you must be reading.
Pretty good. Highly
Oh, thank you,
recommended.
man. No, for real. Thank you for picking that up, dude. That means a lot to me. You know, it's like we're all trying to get people to give a shit about what we're doing, and you never know when anyone actually does. So, like, to see you holding that in your hands means a lot to me, man. Thank you.
Actually, man, I'm impressed by the paper stock.
Dude, Humanoids doesn't mess around with like their book printing. They do really nice stuff, and they got all that spot gloss on there, and like,
Oh yeah, and a
yeah,
raised lettering right
yeah,
there.
man.
Oh yeah.
I was super excited when they showed me like what they had done. I was like, oh, okay, because like if you look at like Marvel trades, like they're usually like pretty thin, like magazine
Yeah.
paper, and like so the fact that they like really go hard on that stuff is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, we can
Um,
definitely. Well, we can definitely talk a lot about Marvel, but that's a whole other
right.
show.
Well, so to get going, I want to do a quick little intro for this and for you. And, we've been friends for several years now, like mostly through
Yeah,
DMs. And then we
yeah. I'd
spoke like this for the first time a few days ago.
yeah. We've been talking shit for a few years. Um, that's not what this chat's going to be about, though. There will be no shit talking.
Maybe a
Um,
little, but constructive.
sure, sure.
But yeah, no, when I got into figures, like you were, a lot of people in this hobby are like really stingy with resources, and like they don't like to share stuff, and they just like to and like you've
Yeah,
always been really like forthcoming and helpful, and like you've let me know about a lot of stuff that I didn't know about, like that was time sensitive, in several
yeah,
occasions where it was like, oh man, like I gotta pre-order that now.
yeah.
So I've always really appreciated that about you, and how, like, that was a really nice, I had you and my friend Sean, who I'll have on one of these at some point, but the two of you guys were like very welcoming and like helpful to me when I first started doing this stuff. So like that's something I've always tried to pay forward. Like I never do that bullshit where I'm like, PM, bro. When people go, what head is that? Or where did you get that? So PM me. Like I'm always like, here's the recipe. Like this
Uh,
is what I used. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I always tried to pay it forward too, because when I was starting out, and I'm certainly no master at all still, but there's stuff I was watching on YouTube. There's one guy that all he did was just paint Star Wars heads, and I think he was like the Star Wars Black Series guy for head painting tutorials and like casting and all that.
yeah,
But and looking back on that, if I was like on a physical CD or floppy disk or whatever, I would have just worn it the fuck out because
yeah.
I just,
Right.
wait, what? You have to do what now? Okay, go back to this. So painting eyes and then skin tones
Right.
and layering. Oh my god, layering, dry brushing. These
Yes.
are all
Yes.
foreign language to me. So
Yeah, well,
uh,
and I actually do want to. I have some questions I do want to ask you about like your journey with all this stuff and kind of how you got into it, because I don't actually know that stuff, and I figured that this would be a good place to do it. But
yeah,
and
yeah,
then we'll also talk about like it's San Diego Comic-Con weekend. I didn't plan this way, but a lot of reveals have been happening, so we'll take a look at some of those too and talk about our thoughts. And real quick, whoever's in the chat, definitely sound off and let us know where you're at, and I'm curious where people are chiming in from. There is a delay that I have set, so you have to be subscribed for 5 minutes to the channel before you can comment in the live stream, just to keep the bots and trolls out and stuff. So if it's not letting you say anything just yet, hang tight for a couple minutes and it should let you start typing after that. So but yeah, man, so let's get into it. I have a couple questions here. I'm curious, first of all, like, have you been collecting since you were a little kid? Like, are you sort of like the classic, like, yeah, I had Ninja Turtles and then I got older? Like, what's the
Yeah,
track?
it's kind of the classic story of growing up with the stuff. Remember when malls were a thing and we could go to places like TheseDamnToys or Suncoast if you really wanted to splurge?
Yeah.
But that was kind of like my favorite pastime growing up was trying to get good grades and being rewarded by my dad taking me to Toys R Us to reward me for a good progress report or a report card.
Right.
And like everything in my life now, it all goes back to Batman as well.
I know you're a big Batman guy, big 89 guy specifically,
big
right?
89 guy. Big 89 guy. It got me into comic books, which overall got me into reading. Definitely got me into collecting because that was the summer of Batman merch. And back then, there was the initial Toy Biz line, and I love those. I kind of still love them because you have your nostalgia about them. And then I moved on to Kenner getting the license and had to get as many of those, all the gold suit and pink suit, silver suit variants of that one.
Yeah. Do you still have that stuff, or did your parents like sell them at a garage sale or something? That's what happened to me.
I'm looking at my little Keaton Batman shrine at my place right now. What do I got? Most of them are, I hope most of them are still at the parents' place in one of my mini tubs over there filled with all my old crap. But actually, I've got here.
While you do that, I'm going to shout out to my boy Alan Bethel watching from work. Happy to see you streaming. Thank you, sir. Alan's one of my dearest friends and also a fellow collector. So we'll definitely have him on here at some point too.
Oh, what's up, Alan? This guy.
Oh yeah.
This is
now. Who put that one out? Was that?
This was Kenner?
Kenner? Okay.
Yeah, Kenner. R.A.P. Kenner. This was the very first Batman animated series figure called Combat Belt Batman. This is the one that I got, and this is actually one that kind of matches the story I just told, where I did something good. My dad rewarded me by taking me on a trip to Target, and saw this on the racks, and I haven't looked back ever since.
Right. Hey, shout out to Kit Bash Customs. He says Mayfex when he knows.
Mayfex.
Knows
Mayfex, please. Mayfex, please.
Right. So for those who don't know, these damn toys here will do this like randomly watching like White Lotus, and he'll be like, "When are we getting a Mayfex of this?" So, big shout out to Kit Bash though. This is a guy who, another person who was always really positive to me, and still continues to be, and he gets a lot of manufactured hate on Instagram, I feel, and he's always been a dude who's been mad cool to me. So go follow him if you haven't. Also, big shout out to Crimson Reigns. What's going on, good people? What's going on, man? This guy's got a great channel as well, and he recently made that Hancock custom that I was telling you about.
Oh, that's you. So that's dude. Him. That's sick.
Yeah, so
that's
great customizer. Check him out as well. Yeah, man, I remember being obsessed with those. Like when I think it was the Batman Returns, he had like the sweater with the lines and stuff on it, and then you could put the suit on him. Like I tried to make my own when I was little because nobody would buy that one for me. So,
oh man,
Kit Bash says it's hilarious. There'll be some random guy sliding across the screen and say Magafex went. Oh, very true. Anyway, continue.
Actually, I'm kind of going back into customizing. And actually, it's kind of linked with this. I guess we can use the term now. Buck we can use the term now, buck. So back in the day when you used to have to attach a phone cord to your modem, and you could get something called 56K internet. I'm talking to you like you're a Gen Zer. You're not a Gen Zer. We're the same age, but we might have Gen Zers in the audience.
Probably
so
not.
back in the
day, to be fair, probably not. I think almost 40-year-old guys typically watch almost 40-year-old guys. I think that's kind of the exchange.
Oh, it's a negative loop, yeah.
Yeah.
But when I first got the internet in 97, 98, the only thing I was looking up was like Batman stuff, and especially action figures overall.
Boobs.
And
right.
Boobs. Yeah. There was a website called Raving Toy Maniac, and they had forums, and the forums were it was just like a space. It wasn't it was more like an aggregate. There wasn't like a separate customizer forum. There wasn't a separate DC Toys forum. It was just everyone
all one
writing
stream.
Toys, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Marvel, and this is when Marvel Legends was about to be a thing too. I'm sorry, classics like Spider-Man classics. That was a kind of like the thing that kind of kicked off the 112 scale. But I remember seeing someone make a custom of this figure with just a Bruce Wayne head, and that just blew my mind.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And
like the proto head swap, right? Like
yeah. And how they did
that was your monolith monkey
from 2001. It was the obelisk. That was my obelisk moment, and I started just flinging shit everywhere. But that's when I learned the terms like X-Acto knife and fodder and eBay.
So this you were like probably pretty early to the game with that, because like, I mean, you're talking this, when would that would have been, like 97, you said?
97, 98. Yeah.
And real quick, what up, Collect to Disconnect? This guy's a great channel too. One of the early Batmobile customizers of the McFarlane one.
Nice.
That's how we got to know each other. Shout out to this man. Thank you for joining, man. Appreciate it.
I still gotta do that whole Ramen Toys.
Did you get the CAG set?
I did. I got a glossy one and a matte one because you're getting charged the same shipping price for one versus like, okay, well, why not buy two? And might as well, yeah. And I still have that one that's you inspired me to get your project from last year. I still got that collecting dust, and that'll be a whole nother topic too about this. Oh, just like when we both started.
And you were like, I'm not getting it, and I was like, dude, this thing's pretty cool, and you're like, all right.
Okay, I'll get it, and that's a whole other topic of what we regret about this hobby.
Right.
Unfinished.
Oh, that was one of my questions, so we'll get to that.
Yeah. So I started off just doing like basic head swaps just for different versions of characters. And then as I got older, toys became less cool, as they probably do for most young gentlemen, and you start chasing women, and you start getting into other things. In my case, though, it was a little bit of college, joining the military, getting stationed around the world.
Probably hard to buy toys when you're in a...
Oh, yeah, when you have, like, no space to put your crap. And then berthing on an aircraft carrier. Yeah. But, hey, I was able to see a lot of cool stores. Like, I never, like, fell out of love with toys.
That had to have been hard, man, because if you're in, like, Japan and there's, like, all these dope toy stores and you're just like...
Oh, my God, dude. Yeah, you want to talk about like
can't do nothing with
amazing
that.
things. Yeah, like this was back when it was just straight up Medicom, and they were doing their high end soft goods 1/6 scale figures,
Yeah.
and
What
you know
are
they
those
look
the
like
real action heroes? Is that what they're called?
yeah, real action heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would go out in town in Tokyo and still and indulge in some geeky things, checking out a store with Gundam, where it's just like nothing but Gundam,
Yeah.
and then the floor above that would be like all the statues and stuff. Um, and then there would like be like a little smaller wing dedicated to American superhero stuff, and that just like blew my mind. But where was I going to put it? And I
Right.
certainly, couldn't just get one Spider-Man. I'd have to get Spider-Man and the Venom to play with him. Oh, and there's a Carnage. Oh, so
Right. I imagine too, like if you're in like the military and there's all these dudes around you, you're probably not real excited to be like, check out the Spider-Man I got, right? Like I would just be like, you know what, I'm not even gonna deal with
you think
that.
you think, but the military is there's a lot of nerds in the military.
Yeah. Dude, I'll never
Um,
forget I've always worn on my sleeve the stuff I'm into. Well, and like also similarly, like I collected a little bit when I was younger, and then I got heavily into breakdancing. I was telling you last time we talked.
yeah,
Um, and like that was my life from like the age of 15 on pretty much until I started really focusing on trying to make comics happen. But I remember going to one of my first Emerald City Comic Cons, and I was staying with my cousin in his condo up in Seattle, and he had these two hot neighbors, and I didn't know it, and like I bought this like you remember those like 12 inch or they're like 13-inch DC Direct soft goods
oh
superhero
yeah,
figures. They were
yeah.
like
Like,
they
you
looked
made like a
crappy,
Alex
but
Ross Batman.
so, yeah, but
Yeah,
even before that, there would just be like a big chunky headed Superman and almost like a bobblehead, they're just
yeah,
like they were like proto soft goods 12, and
yeah,
I was so stoked because I was like I was going to use it for reference for when I was drawing and painting and stuff, because I was on my Alex Ross tip back then. I was like, I'm gonna be the next Alex Ross, like I got this, and so like I remember going out on his balcony and he was out there with his brother, my other cousin, and I'm like, man, this thing has multiple points of articulate. And I look up and I just see these two hot girls on the next balcony over. I was just like, oh man, not a good look. So yeah, but real quick, collect to disconnect. Just got home from seeing Deadpool and Wolverine. Highly recommended. Glad I could make the live. Dang man, I'm sure you're buzzing off of that. So thank you for coming in and cooling off in here. I'm excited to see that one. That might actually get me to the theater. I was telling you
yeah,
last time we talked, I kind of gave up the theater for a while because people are just I can't hold it in.
yeah. I
And
think you
it's just
gotta. I
crazy.
think you have to see it before these momos spoil stuff
Right.
somehow.
I
Either
mean, dude,
they're
I don't know if you saw the Hot Toys teases and releases and stuff, but they were kind of giving a few things away. People were pissed. I
like
mean, I guess
the shirt Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
no, there were a couple of like Deadpool variant type of things
Oh,
that
yeah,
I hadn't
yeah,
seen yet. I'm not super plugged into it, but like I hadn't seen that stuff yet, and I was like, damn, the movie like is barely out. Like, this was yesterday, so I don't really know.
Well, they must have got the
know.
green light from the powers to be. Yeah. Speaking of, yeah, let's bring on the merch.
Yeah, man.
Bring on the
Let's take a
merch.
look at.
Apex.
I got
Let's go.
I got an Instagram bookmark list here, so I'm just gonna share that. So we'll take a look at. Let's see. Boom. And real quick, collect to disconnect says a lot of cheering and laughing. It was a good time in a packed theater. Yeah, you know what? That would be a good movie to see with a crowd, I bet. Because
Yeah.
people are going to be laughing and having a good time.
Yeah.
And my boy Alan says, I was thinking of seeing it tonight. Looking forward to it. Yeah, man, let me know. I can't, well, you do you. I was going to say, I might go with you, but I can't tonight. So I don't want to hold you up. All right. So let's look at some of the stuff we got coming out. I'm just going to go down the list here. This one I'm excited for.
I'm excited. I think for the same reason you and I are, because it's a suit.
Yes. This is going to be a Clark Kent, a Christopher Reeve Clark Kent for me.
Okay. So
If I can get the hat to fit, I will use it.
I'm on my triannual rewatch of Mad Men, and I feel like that could be a good base for a Don Draper.
That, you know what? That could look pretty tight. I mean, now I'm like, see, these things are so prohibitively expensive to get multiples of, but I'm like, dang, like you could do a couple different things with this suit.
Is this
But
a regular
I
release?
I believe so. I know I pre-ordered it on their site, like directly from Mezco. This is one of 3 pre-orders I have left with Mezco, and then I'm pretty much
And then you're done.
cool on them. Yeah, like I was saying with when I got the Batman, it was just such a fumble. Like they bungled that figure in so many ways. I mean, I think overall it's good. Soft goods are great, like great head sculpts, the
Yeah.
accessories are great, but like having one that is so proportionately wonky, I was just like, I can't really mess with them anymore if this is the kind of stuff they're putting out. Let's keep it in Mezco and take a look at this guy. So
I do have
of
this guy
course
on pre-order.
me too. And I'm not even really an Indiana Jones. Like I didn't grow up watching it. I didn't see these movies until I was like within the last 10 years, probably. But they're fun. And when there's a good soft goods representation of something in 1/12 scale, I generally tend to want to get it. Yeah, and this is a cool accessory too, but like I think like his head looks huge. It could be the angle.
That's
'cause he's,
Mezco.
like,
That's
side
Mezco
on,
lately.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the best example, but Shadow right here. Shadow's head's pretty large, but you can kind of get away with it with all the soft goods.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes, like when there's layers added onto it, it kind of it's not the worst thing. But man, sometimes they really just put some honkers on these dudes. And and what's funny too is McFarlane figures heads run a bit small. So like between the two, like a lot of times you can put a McFarlane head on a Mezco figure, and it's like kind of the perfect size.
Yeah, it's like 1-to-1 at that point.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. And okay, so this one was cool too. I'm not really even a Beetlejuice guy, but this one had me like, you know what?
Yeah.
I might break my Mezco boycott for this.
You break my one rule. I'm considering it.
For real. Like, when are you going to get a soft goods Beetlejuice in 1/12 scale, right? Oh, shout out to Paul Maynard. He says, hi, both. Yes, should be a deluxe release. So good to see you on live. Thank you, man. I appreciate you joining. Paul's very, always very kind in the comments on my videos, and we have a nice back and forth. So I appreciate you being here, man. Let's see what else we got here. So there was a couple of slides. What's that?
It better come with 5 heads. That Beetlejuice better come with like 5 head variants.
Yeah, right. And like some of the wackier like alternate stuff that he does, right? Like yeah. Like how they did with like those like a mask figure, the mask figure, right? Like you get the Silver Centurion. And so I'm not a big like comics figure guy necessarily. Like I love them, obviously. I work in comics and stuff, but like for me, realism and like trying to approximate what's in a movie or a TV, off the screen is like where I really get my kicks. So when I see something like this, I admire it from afar, but it's not something I personally want to jump on. But this looks really dope, and I've seen there are other Iron Man figures and they look pretty cool. And
I've got
die-cast and stuff.
Yeah, I've got the first one they did. It's great, but I don't need any more Iron Man. Marvel Legends is and like all the Asian companies that have
like the ZD toys and stuff. Yeah. Like I mean, I look at this and this looks just like a really nice Marvel Legend kind of because of like the hip joints and stuff like that. So at that point, it's like you might as well pay a third of the price and get a couple of them. This is the first time we've seen Toy Story Miles in.
Wow, rocking that Michael Phelps lat spread.
Right. I think this looks pretty decent, but like I feel like this guy would break very easily because that is a real problem with like the skinny Mezco stuff.
Oh, that's got to be a new buck for them.
It's got to be right, and you can see the double joints in the elbows.
And you know what that
But I mean,
means?
what's
I
that?
think that means they can pull off those Batman animated series figures instead of just using their.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Especially these cut a similar silhouette with like the upside down triangle shape up top and the skinny
Yeah,
legs. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I think this looks pretty good. I still haven't seen the sequel to this. The what is it?
Oh, it's
Across the Spider? Yeah,
great.
Across. That's
Oh
what. Yeah,
man.
I love the first one. Like I bought it, and so I keep it's one of those things where like you got to be in the right mood, and then like it just keeps
Yeah.
eluding me. But this looks fun. His head looks a little. I don't know. I mean, I guess these are the cartoon proportions, but he kind of looks a little. I don't know.
Small.
Looks good though. Yeah, like he's maybe not quite skinny enough, but I guess maybe I haven't seen the newer one, so maybe he hit a growth spurt between the.
Oh yeah, the new one. He's a few years older, so yeah,
Okay.
puberty hit him. Speaking of puberty not hitting, or
We
actually
got this
a
Elton
midlife
John
crisis
figure.
hitting. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, he's got some abs.
Well, he really does look like Elton John on tour in the 70s or something. Look at this man.
Oh, he's being
Yeah,
suspended.
do you collect these like classic, like did you get the Green
I
Goblin
did,
and the
but I never
Spider-Man?
opened them, and I actually gave them away to a good buddy of mine because
Yeah.
I was seeing all the photos of the melons that they were using for Spider-Man, and I saw like how you can't even get Goblin in like a glider crouch without body swapping it.
Yeah.
So plus it took what 2.5 years for them to come out, and
That's
yeah,
another
yeah,
thing, man. That's another reason why with Mezco I'm kind of burnt out, because it's like you pre-order something and then, I mean that Batman took 2 years. Batman
yeah.
89 took like 3, didn't it? Like so yeah.
There's a lot of lore behind that one.
Paul says he needs a piano accessory. NECA made one, so you could get the NECA one and pair it with this guy, and you'd have yourself a nice little Rocket Man. Spider Gwen, cool pose, but you don't see
Yeah,
much of it because the angle is
yeah.
weird.
She's
But
probably still in that awful female buck
yeah, man, like
single
that
elbow probably.
Catwoman.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Catwoman body. Yeah,
this is a cool one. Obviously it's a just kind of a redeco of the one they already did, I think, right?
yeah.
I mean, the bike
The
at
bike.
least, which I get. I mean, if you're going to spend all that time R&D money on a bike, like put out a red one. I don't give a shit. Is this something you would get, or is this kind of like a enjoy it from afar
So
kind
this
of
is
deal?
a BBTS exclusive. I don't know if it's sold out. The bike is cool, but the initial problem with the first Ghost Rider is it looks really awkward on its bike. Like it was a guy pretending to ride a motorcycle
Like
or
it
something.
can't. Well, because there's no like that. That's a problem I find. Because obviously I do a lot of stuff with vehicles, right? And like it's hard to get them to sit because like they're not made of
Right.
flesh. Gravity doesn't take its toll on them. Seats don't compress when they sit on them. So you end up with a guy just kind of like straddling a bike, like barely his butt
Yeah,
hovering over the seat and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the bike's cool.
Yeah, I'm glad that, like if you want something that's a little more throwbacky, like to go with your old Spider-Man and your Doc Ock,
Fantastic
your Elton
Four
John.
and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is cool.
This is cool. I've got enough Jokers though.
Right. You know what I would do with this one though is I would make a Keaton Joker. I think I would.
Yeah.
I would paint the pants with that checker pattern or something, or even just leave it as it is and put a Nicholson head on there. I still have one. I have two, I think, from when our old buddy Action Figure Customs was selling head shrinks.
Oh yeah. So not to pat myself on the back, but
Yeah,
like in the
you
hobby,
supplied a lot of those, didn't you?
yeah, that was like actually like kept me excited about the hobby was collaboration. I would send him stuff. He would do his magic. Trick this. I don't know. This is like what 4 years before 3D printing became the
Yeah,
normal thing to do. But he was able to just take something that was like I don't know, like a pipe dream. Hey, this is Jack Nicholson headcast from the Hot Toys. What can you do with it? I
yeah.
don't know. Send it to me. And then 5 weeks later, I had a appropriately scaled Jack Nicholson for my Mezco Joker. It's like, how did the
That's rad.
hell?
So you were the one who sent him the master for that one specifically, that Nicholson
Yeah,
Joker.
yeah, and
Oh, that's cool, man. I didn't realize that. I knew you sent him stuff, but I didn't. Did you send him the returns head though? Right?
the returns head.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it just and he said that was really hard because like how the points and the cow and the nose and the
I bet,
scallops on
man.
the cow. Yeah, so like
So for those who don't know, he would use a process of shrinking resin, right? And you would have to
yeah,
do it in stages. So basically, you make a mold of the head cast, and then you cast it in resin that shrinks as it cures, and you have to do it like what, like 3 or 4 times or something to get it down.
yeah, yeah,
Like you mold it, cast it in shrinking resin, mold it, cast it in shrinking resin. So it's like,
yeah,
and there's so much that can happen proportionately with like the eyes pushing too close together, or like one of the ears going like or you know
yeah,
what I mean, like, so
yeah.
that's
And
wild,
I
man.
try to do it myself. It ain't cheap. It's messy
Yeah,
and it's not fun. Basically, all things that this hobby is all about too.
yeah, I
and
mean, like, talk about turning it into work at that point, right? Like
oh, like a
like
full time gig. Like yeah, you
yeah,
better once you get good at it, you owe it to the universe to monetize it
yeah,
because you got a
yeah.
skill. You're very good at it, and people will pay
Dude,
for it.
that we all subsisted off of that guy's stuff, and
Oh
by
yeah,
extension
yeah,
yours, for a few years until 3D printing really became like much more democratized. Oh,
yeah.
this one I was excited to ask you about because I know you're a Nightwing guy. So what are your
I mean,
thoughts?
so okay, so they know that, and they've seen everyone's customs for how long has Mezco been making DC figures? Like 10 years
Right.
now. So they've seen everyone make a Nightwing in the traditional sense with just a basic suit with a vinyl decal on there.
Right.
So
Or
they've
taking
got
one
a.
off of the McFarlane figure and.
In my case, it was the animated Nightwing figure because that was like a raised plastic
Yeah.
piece. So yeah, they could not do the same thing that everyone else already did. Um, I'm not offended by it. I'm not excited by it, and maybe that's actually a worse criticism. Is that
Right.
I don't feel anything about it.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really collect these, but like
They've got a
I
lot
think
of
it's interesting.
influences from the Titans TV show. His look right
Yeah.
there.
And probably
Um,
some of the game, right? Gotham
the
Knights
game.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out to Figure Fortress, says this is actually closer to the Gotham Knight design now. Yeah, exactly.
okay.
So, um, yeah, I think it looks cool. I think that this midsection thing that they do sometimes isn't that great looking. Like, I know that you don't want to have a belt rubbing up against this kind of vinyl material, but I do think that maybe something to secure the belt a little more. I mean, this is like, this is on display at San Diego Comic-Con. This is like the show of shows next to like Toy Fair, right?
Yeah,
Like, hike that belt up a little bit, guys. Come on, what are we doing here? But I
yeah.
like the
Maybe
gauntlets. I think the blue is a nice color. Yeah. What do you think of the head sculpt?
It's not attractive. He looks
Yeah,
pretty ugly.
it's a little
Yeah,
underwhelming, right? Like I feel like they've done better stuff. It's a little this almost looks like a McFarlane figure,
it does.
and I
Now,
feel like Mezco does better than that generally.
if Mezco, if they had a sense of humor, they probably would have had two Nightwings on display, one facing the audience, and another one turned around so everyone could see its ass.
See them cakes.
But we know Mezco ain't got no sense of humor.
I'm really curious, man. Okay, we saw this one. Yeah, I'm curious if, you know. Oh, here's a better look at Indy. Okay, so yeah, the head doesn't look as huge from this angle because he's not side on, you know, profile. But the coat looks pretty good. I think the leather grain is maybe a little big. That's a hard thing to do. Keep that
Yeah,
in scale, you know.
yeah.
Um, but the whip looks wired. That's pretty cool. And nice little belt detail. I'm excited for this one. I'm glad I pre-ordered it.
Weren't you trying to piece together an indie?
No, that's one that I was like, if somebody makes one, I'll get it, but I don't like feel the burning need because, like I said, I didn't grow up with it, and it, you know, something I enjoy, but it's not like one of those things that I like. I need a representation of this thing I love so much right
Okay.
now. This one really surprised me. So, Jeff Johns, who used to be a big head honcho at DC Comics and DC Warner Brother film stuff, big comic book writer. He has a book through his new Image imprint, Ghost Machine, with his longtime collaborator Gary Frank, called Junkyard Joe, and like it's a new comic. I don't even think it's out yet, and it might be, but Mezco is making a figure of it, and that's not something that we've really seen from them. Like everything they do is usually like a really well established comic property or a movie or a TV show, right?
Oh yeah, and this
So
is, I'm sure, with however long Jeff Johnson's been, he's like what, an assistant to Richard Donner too back in the day. So he's been in the business and he knows about the business of the business. And he got free from the DC shackles, and now he's doing his own thing. And now he wants, or now he knows to get as much money out of his own IP. So what is it like? First, you negotiate your movie deal or your media deal, then the merch deal, and then you actually write your story and create your character.
right, yeah, pretty much nowadays. Well, and he's got free reign probably to do whatever he wants at this point, especially with Image. Like, you know, if you're publishing something through Image, like you own everything. They just
Yeah.
print it and sell it. So, yeah. Crimson Rain says exactly what I was thinking. It looks like something you'd buy just to customize it.
Yeah, when you showed me
Yes.
this, I was like, yeah, I know this is like the McFarlane Sergeant Rock. What's so dope? I was like, oh, okay, it's
Yeah. I mean,
Gomez.
I think it's a really cool character design, right? Like, and you know, I think you could leave it as is, obviously, but yeah, like, I mean, look at this webbing, I think they call it, right? This
Oh yeah,
belt
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Like, this is really nice. A little hook right here. These little
Now,
rivets and stuff.
do you think you could do a head swap with the Mezco Christopher Reeve, since this is a Gary Frank?
For those who might be unfamiliar, Gary Frank drew a bunch of Superman stuff at DC, and he draws Superman to look exactly like Christopher Reeve. So, yeah, that's in my head too. When I think Gary Frank, the first thing I see is like a very Christopher Reeve looking Superman. I thought this was a Rumble Society thing until I actually like, yeah. So yeah, I thought that was interesting, but yeah, I don't know if we've seen anything new from Mezco beyond this. Like, I think everything else has kind of been like stuff we've been. But I guess Beetlejuice as well. But
yeah,
I thought I had pictures of the Mezco Power Rangers here because they had those on display and they look pretty cool.
Yeah. They look. Maybe it was like the angle that the photo was taken, like someone was using like the wide angle thing on their iPhone. But the helmets,
their heads look huge, right? Like, that's what I thought too.
Way too large.
Yeah.
Versus like this, I think this looks about as normal as you'd expect a guy wearing a helmet.
Yeah, Let me. How do I?
compared to
There we go.
yeah, compared to the stuff in the display case. So I'm
Yeah,
hoping that was just they were using like the wide angle lens on their iPhone to take those
I
photos.
I think so. That's something obviously that happens a lot with figures when we first see like pictures of them. Usually people don't really know how to take a photo of it that doesn't make it look insane. So, uh,
With
but
their
yeah,
potato cameras.
now we're gonna pull up MCU Collector's page. Shout out to MCU Collector. He's down there and showed these of the Jada Toys Street Fighter lineup. Now I don't collect these myself. I've been making my own custom Street Fighter figures, but I really like them, and seeing them is what made me want to make my own. So, um, yeah, I wanted to take a look at these because I think these look pretty cool. Do you have any of these?
Yeah. I've got the boys. I almost called them the twins, not twins.
Yeah.
Ryu. Um, I've got Fei Long. I got Chun Li, and I'll pick up the rest as I see them. I'm not sweating over a pre-order for them though. I'm not gonna actively buy something from Big Bag Toy Store just to
Yeah.
just to get these. But if I see them at Targets, I'll pick them up.
They do seem like they've been pretty readily available, which is cool. And I think that like whenever you can still get a little bit of that sense of like, oh, I found something in the wild, like
Yeah.
take it because it's rare these days. Like that was something that was so fun about doing this, man. When we were kids, is like, you had
Oh, oh
one
my
of
God.
the Ninja Turtles and you had to find the other two, right? And it was
Yeah.
like, oh, this KB only has foot soldiers and the flocked Splinter from the second movie. Like,
Yeah.
so you got to try to go the other one. Um, and then this Dio was made in 1979 Customs on Instagram. So that was
Oh
pretty
yeah, that
cool.
dude rocks. Yeah,
Yeah, he
he
makes
makes
some nice stuff.
good stuff.
Yeah, I think I got a couple close ups here. Yeah, this guy looks. Yeah,
How would you make your version of Blanca?
dude, that's what I was trying to figure out. I think I would get a um, Fison muscle guy. I don't know what they're
Okay.
called. The Fison body, and I would try to dye it green or paint it green. I've seen people have
Um,
success with like um,
Pastels.
pastels. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would try that, and then for the head, I'd figure something out. But the body is the real challenge there, and I think that's what I would do. Um, I don't know. I've got a couple recipes figured out for a few of them. I've actually got a Sagat almost done. I just need to like make the shorts for him, and then
Oh,
wrap up
sick.
his wrist and stuff. Yeah, I just used a V Toys body because he's already bald, so it was like I just painted him like he's a little person and put an eye patch on him, and yeah, I got Cammy done. Obviously, Vega, I have no idea, but
Yeah,
that's
that would be fun. Rooted hair figure.
yes. Oh, speaking of, well, I'll show that later. I was going to show you what I did with that Momoa figure. And yeah, so these look cool. I'm excited to see these, and it's cool that they've been like available at retail. Like you can actually find these and don't have to like pay scalpers and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Did you see these by Kai Labs or Kai Lab? These
I did. Okay,
Top Gear turtle setup.
this is cool. Now, so what, you need a Mezco Ninja Turtle though?
I think so. I mean, it looks like you could put it on anything else of the same size, I would imagine, but I think, and also like who's gonna want to take their, $400 or $500 turtle set and like just dedicate it to being, you'd kind of have to have doubles, I think, right? To
Oh
really want
yeah.
to, unless you do like figure photography or whatever. But yeah, this looks awesome. I have their Western set, like it's like a vest and a bandolier and a belt and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Actually, shout out to Crimson Reigns because I had seen it and I was like, man, that looks cool. And I hadn't ordered it, and then he made a custom with one, and I was like, I gotta get that. It looks so cool. So, but yeah, this is dope, man. I really want to learn how to sew on this level or at all.
You know how to use a sewing machine?
I when I was a kid, I used to. So I'd have to. I think I'd probably pick it up again pretty easily. I think it's mostly just like, how do you get the stitching small enough, and figuring out the patterning for this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah. And like, yeah, what fabric to use. I think you even brought up like how at such a small scale, fabric just does not cooperate as the way that
Yes.
real sizing would.
Yeah, I end up using a lot of double stick tape on my customs, like under the shirt here to get it to sit instead of being all puffy like this all the time, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and I like that stuff because it can like, you can just take it off if, you know, it
Yeah,
doesn't
there's
like
just like some
damage.
like little bit of residue that you can just peel away.
Exactly. Or just kind of like rub it, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this looks cool though. This was an old like Playmates figure, right? Didn't they have like a basketball Donnie or something?
There was yeah, there was like Donnie or Leo. I think they wore red, like white shorts with red piping or something. But yeah, there was like a
Yeah.
basketball version of them.
I just realized this was the LAers, the layers version of. Oh, shout out to my boy Ramon Villalobos. He said R.I.P. Kobe. Big R.I.P. Ramon is a very dear friend of mine and an incredible comic book artist. So check him
Yeah, he
out.
is. Yeah, he is.
Let's see what else we got here. Oh, okay. So more turtle stuff. These are actually pretty cool. These are from Super 7? Or no, this is NECA, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
More from MCU Collector. Um, yeah, man, I dig these. Like this line is really expanding and it's looking pretty cool.
Have you read any more of this?
No, I've been planning to, but it's one of those things that, you know, like it just keeps coming out and piling up. So
Yeah, yeah. And I thought this was like a one and done, but that's never the case when something's profitable.
yeah, it's doing really well for them, I think. So they're just like, keep them coming, you know. But this is a really cool
It's a sick
Dio
dio.
setup too. Yeah, like I don't know if I think someone in house at NECA does all these, and they're always look really dope. I like this train. I wonder how they made that.
Ooh.
Do you remember when that guy 112 Garage like put up pre-orders for like a subway car and then took everybody's money
Oh,
and ran?
yeah.
That was cool.
That was very cool. Love this hobby.
Yeah, I got my money back. I was like, oh, you know, I'll support it. This is cool. I want to support somebody do, you know. And I ended up reporting it to my bank, and they were like, all right, we got you. So that was cool.
Hey,
But,
shout out to Banks.
right? Except for most of the time. It looks like they actually sculpted this stuff too. That's really dope.
Oh,
Man, see, this is the kind of thing that got me. You know, like the whole reason I started building dioramas was like, remember when we were kids and you'd see the commercials and it'd be like, "New Lightning Strike
yeah.
Leo" or whatever, and he'd like
Or just like
come
yeah,
up
like
on a
Transformers playing in like a I don't know, like a pile of rocks, but there's
yes,
purple background behind them.
and it was always like, you know, some kind of cool setup, and it was like, man, like I want that because when I get it here and it's on like our ugly shag carpet, it sucks, you know. But yeah, I haven't. I'm curious about these new turtles too, because like I said, I haven't read them, and it's cool to see like new designs. You know.
I forget. Have you made like a water diorama with like water elements to it?
No, the closest thing I made was like a puddle out of like clear resin or something. So I haven't
Was
done
it,
like a full like waterline thing.
yeah. Was it for
I,
the Neo, your Neo figure?
no, I did a this was like an early thing I did. The Ninja Turtles movie poster where they're all peeking out of the sewer.
Yeah.
So when I bought those Playmates figures that were based on the 1990 movie before the actual like NECA figures came out,
Mhm.
I was like, I'm gonna sculpt movie accurate heads to put on those figures. I'm gonna repaint the bodies. That was like one of the very first custom things I ever did. And I sculpted all the heads, and I was gonna cast them in resin, and you know, and then I was able to secure the NECA movie 4-pack for the San Diego exclusive, so I kind of abandoned that project. But I had the heads from the Playmates figures, and they actually kind of resembled that movie poster in terms of like the expressions and stuff. So I
Mhm.
repainted them, and I made like a little 3D like setup for them, and basically made a 3D movie poster out of it.
Oh,
And
sick.
so yeah, and it had a little puddle in the front because that was like accurate to the poster. So that's the most I ever did. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
I would like to do one of those cool like cross section of a waterline thing with like plants and
Yeah,
fish and stuff. That'd be sick. I don't know what any of those are triceratons. I know. I don't know what this
I think
guy
these are
is.
deep cuts. Yeah,
Like the Mirage comic stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, these are cool. This is one of the Jim Lawson turtles I know for sure. Oh, hey, you know what? That kind of looks like your guy Lawrence right there. He's got the
I'm all about that.
yeah. We do have a little bit of Mayfex. I only have a couple things here. I thought this looked pretty cool. This Megan figure. This is Mayfex, right? Yeah. And they tease some other stuff. So I'm curious what they're doing from the Matrix. Like I'm genuinely because I think they would probably do like trench coats, like soft goods, right? You wouldn't be like moving
Yeah,
plastic panels around and stuff.
yeah. But oh, see, okay, so yeah, everyone's wearing a trench coat in that movie.
Yeah, that is if they're doing the first one. I think they are. I don't think this is like uh Revolutions or whatever. What was the new one? Reload? No,
Well,
Resurrection or whatever. Um, Alan
Matrix.
says that last Ronin bike looks legit. It does. And another bike that looks legit is this one. uh, Moto King, whatever they're called. They
Moto.
are
Hello, Moto.
getting this stuff. Now, did you order the tumbler from them? I can't remember.
I will. I will. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Moto King tumbler because I think you and I were talking about how the fun in the Batmobile collecting was actually making it ourselves or fixing it up ourselves,
Yeah.
and that one's full blown. You're assembling it.
Yeah.
You can mess it up on your own, or you can make it as
Right.
dope. You make it more dope than it would have been stock. So
Yeah.
if I was interested in this bike overall, yeah, I would go with the Moto King.
Yeah,
Dope name.
I have that like import one that weighs like 4 pounds.
Right,
It's
you got
just like a
the
solid piece of
polystone one.
polystone. Yeah.
Uh,
It's like I didn't know it weighed that much when I bought it. I'm like afraid to put it on shelves because like I have glass shelving. I'm like, is this gonna like crack one day? And the McFarlane one looks great, but I think it's a little bit too big for the scale I collect in. So I am thinking about getting this one. And it has some cool like light up features, I think, as well. So I thought it was in one of the photos here. I think it is. Yeah, there we go. So, and these panels pop up, the little bulletproof panel things he had with
uh-huh.
this light back here. So yeah, I might have to get this one. Oh, and then this one. Did you send this to me earlier? I think you did.
The boys
Yeah. Now,
just hanging on the
I'll be
convention
honest.
floor.
I know, right? Like what? I mean, I'm assuming this is just like a perspective thing where they're on a table, but it looks like you could just accidentally kick them over as you're walking by. Oh, Figure Fortress says there's also a third party of this Bat Pod from Toys. That is the one I have, and that's the one that's polystone. That it literally weighs like 3 pounds. It's like it's massive. I mean, it's 1/12 scale, but it's like yeah. Toys, they've made a couple of things, but I haven't seen much else from them, so I don't really know like what else they do. But I think they do some like diorama sets or something. But I'm
Okay,
like, those might weigh 10 pounds when you get them. I don't know.
yeah. Made out of real brick and mortar.
For real. But these look dope, man. I don't really collect hot toys. I have a few, but I was excited to see these because, you know, they put out so many Iron Man figures and stuff. Like, when they actually do something new, it's exciting to me.
Oh yeah. Um, this Clooney suits, it's just a couple of things away from them converting it to the Panther
The
suit.
Panther suit, right? Let me pull up a another version of this here. Let's see. Because there was somebody actually put up some footage of it. Do you know, is there like some kind of a uh like convention going on overseas right now? Because a lot of this stuff is popping up in China, I think.
So there was the Medicom exhibition. Then what else? What's that account? The Jackie JACKY. He's been posting a lot of stuff, and he's using like a hashtag of ACHXBO something.
Oh, okay. So it must be a Hong Kong
Yeah, Hong
Hot Toys
Kong
Expo or something.
bootleg convention going on.
Yeah, look at that. That's Clooney right there. I've never realized how ridiculous this cow looks. Like, this is the shape of like aviators right there.
Wow, look at that chin.
Right? He was good casting for Batman. It was just that movie was that movie. But I never really took in this suit, I don't think. This is cool, like this detailing in here.
Um, when they um, when they repainted that oval yellow, and they made those OnStar commercials with this suit,
Yeah.
the yellow oval, that was sick.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is a lot of times when they do the screen tests for actors like as Batman,
Yeah,
they've been using the Kilmer suit for
the
like
Kilmer like sonar suit.
yeah, for like since they made Begins. Like I think Pattinson wore it and yeah.
And yeah, Bale definitely wore it.
He looks a little deer in the headlights. The Batman one. Like Robin
Yeah.
looks cool. But yeah, this guy, TWN collection, um, he's always putting up some cool stuff. This one, man, I don't know who this is for. Joe O'Hara 98 says he didn't wear that one very long. Yeah, that was that later was it like the end of the movie when they like get their second suit or something that he put
yeah,
on?
when they get when they have to keep selling toys. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the sonar suit. Yeah, I thought you meant the Clooney one. Yeah, the sonar suit. Yeah, that was like the last act of the movie when he goes up against Two-Face or whatever.
The prototype sonar suit.
Yeah. Yeah, this it's funny to see Hot Toys kind of scramble because in art is showing everybody like what a 1/6 figure can look like and they're like,
Yeah.
shit.
Apparently InArt ain't too hot with the customer service and the quality control.
Really?
I've been reading about people getting like that Aragorn figure with like bent swords and
that sucks.
and like limbs, like hands that should be like attached. They're just loose in the box.
Dang. That's not good because those things cost a lot of money.
It's like $600 before everything. Good God.
You get like a 2-pack for like $1,000, $1,200, whatever. This
that was really cool.
good, right?
Yeah,
I assume this is a 2.0.
Yeah, that's the 2.0.
Yeah, I mean,
wow. I think I'm gonna regret not ordering this one.
The this is always gonna look weird, but it's not much you can do about that, right?
Like the solid body.
Yeah, and just like unless you did something printed on fabric. Like if you make a rubber suit, like it's gonna do that, and I'm sure people are gonna complain, but I don't even pose my Mezco one like this. Like he's standing straight up and down.
How is your Mezco one doing? Is it held up?
Yeah, I don't, I don't take pictures. I don't really like pose them up and stuff. Like I generally, my thing with collecting is like I want a physical representation of a thing I love existing in a way that I can just like look at it whenever I want and be reminded of that thing that I like and experience that like endorphin rush, or like
Yeah.
that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more about having them look like in a really cool pose or just like, in a cool setup. And so once I set them, I tend to kind of leave them that way and I don't mess with them too much. So mine's perfect. I mean, I haven't had any issues, but I'm not messing with it a lot. So, how about you? Because you got one, right?
I got 3. So I was
Yeah.
gonna make I wanted to make a version like that was like the old Kenner Iron Winch Batman figure. It was basically the blue and gray version in
Right.
that suit. Um, that didn't happen, so that's just still in the box for me to pop open when my actual Keaton figure deteriorates, I
Right.
guess.
I have two as well, and I got I was on the waiting list for it because I passed initially, and then I had to change your heart, and then I didn't. I didn't think it was gonna come, so I got one out in a panic, and then my wait list went through, and I was like, well, all right.
There's there's
These
130
look.
bucks.
You still have
Yeah,
the returns one?
yeah. Toys Returns one. It's cool that looks like they're re-releasing that figure because that one became pretty pricey on the aftermarket. It did
Yeah.
not come with that cow piece though. That came with
This one here.
that cow piece came with the Batman suit and Bruce Wayne 2-pack.
Okay.
So they could do like the head swap with when he like rips off his cow and he's walking
yeah.
like, Bruce Wayne, why are you dressed up as Batman?
Man, those mouth plates are 100% Keaton. Those look so good.
Speaking of, so I sent over when I we're talking about earlier with me sending the stuff to Action Figure Customs. I sent like the full shebang, like that cow piece and all the faceplates. And he got so frustrated with trying to shrink down, getting like a good version to shrink down, because we talked about like the points mess up things.
Yeah.
So he became so frustrated. He was like, "Hey man, I'm just sending you what I was able to successfully make the first time around. I'm passing on making different versions of the faceplates." I was like, "Dude, I get it. You're a saint,
right?
Giving this a shot to begin with."
Because he did that with the Captain America Hot Toys head with the swappable mouth plates and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I've done a lot of casting, and it's not easy, dude. I don't know how he gets such clean pulls, and like, I don't know how many tries he was giving it. Like every time you get an air bubble in the wrong spot, or you get, like something that goes wrong, and you've just wasted an hour and a bunch of material and stuff. So, yeah, he really had that stuff down, I think.
Yeah.
Man, I would love if Mezco does one of these, I would get it. I love the return suit, that Art Deco like armor look to it. It's so cool.
Yeah. Like I love my custom, but there's always room for something official. I always have room in my heart for something official. But
that's
custom,
yeah.
Like my custom is I got a cosplay file that someone made for someone to print out these armor pieces for an actual human. And then I had my boy Omega Doom, who's a whiz at 3D printing. I sent him the STLs, the files, and he was in the lab trying to figure out what percentage to keep shrinking it down to. And like a tricky thing with like casting, and if you get a bubble the wrong way or whatever, if you're like off by like a micrometer, that'll like throw off your whole project. So,
right.
So he was able to narrow down. I think the sweet spot was like 8% scale of the actual whatever it would have been printed out legit as. And he was a saint for doing that for me too. And luckily,
And then
I've got
did he print it out for you, or he just resized it?
he printed it out too, and I supplied him with a flexible resin made by a company called Resione, and
That
they do a
sounds
lot
like
of
somebody was trying to think of like a name for.
yeah.
Oh, what's your company called? Rezione. He goes to a different school. You wouldn't know it.
Yeah, they're collector friendly. Actually, if you want to, can you pull up their Instagram page? This would be something
Yeah,
cool
what
to
is
look
it?
at. I think it's like at Resi1, and maybe that's how they pronounce your name too, Resi1.
Oh, you were just putting too much sauce on it. That's what.
Put an Inya
Is it
on there.
RES?
Yeah, RESIONE.
There we go. All right. That up. There we go.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
is
This
this
is
the
like
stuff you were saying you were dropping off at your buddies the other day?
no. So that's a whole other thing, and I could talk about that if we still have time. But yeah,
Oh,
these people are like buy collectors for collectors.
okay.
That's like Mezco's tagline, but I think these guys actually are. And I think Kit Bash, he's got something going on with them too, where they send him stuff and he actually utilizes it.
Like parts and stuff, or
No, like they'll send Kit Bash Customs like resins to try out, and I think he
oh,
like one
okay.
time he like mixed this with this, and something dope came out of it.
Look at these, man. This is
Yeah, holy
wild.
crap!
I'm always wondering how people will print like translucent stuff, and I'm like, I didn't know that was possible, but here we are.
Yeah,
Yeah, look at this. That's rad. Yeah, man. So because you have a 3D printer, have you found that it's like prohibitively a pain in the ass, or is it like,
if
are you having fun with it?
if you ain't using it often, it's definitely a pain in the ass. You
Yeah.
can let it sit and collect dust, not having anything touch it, not bumping into it, and then you go back to it a couple weeks later and you try to print something and just this mess is a result of it, or nothing sticks to the build plate either. So yeah, you always have to. In my case, you always need to uh, tend to it. You can't just like start off a new project by just plugging in the USB and hitting print. You gotta recalibrate it.
Yeah. See,
Um,
that's the stuff that's so prohibitive to me, dude. I'm just like, I don't have to do all that just to like reach this other endpoint, you know? Like that's why I
yeah,
always end up just not. And I think it would be cool. Like I want to get one, but I just haven't got myself to a point yet where I'm like ready to deal with all of that.
no, it's a very cool hobby, and uh, the highs are high. Not just you getting high off the fumes of the stuff, but whenever you,
That's the other thing, man. Yeah, that's the
yeah,
other thing
like
I'm worried about.
I've got uh, I've got these just hanging out. These are like Brandon Routh heads that I was
Oh,
experimenting with,
nice.
but that's that one, and it's like a
I'm
little
trying to get your screen here. Hold up. There we go. Oh yeah, those look
kind of
good.
like yeah. But I was just trying to nail down the scale, and this is probably like 9 hours worth of printing.
Wow.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and then you got to do all the cleaning and all the,
Yeah,
oh
cleaning and
man.
sanding it down, curing it.
All right, let me get back to the let's look at some Power Rangers here. Let's look at these big old noggins.
Hell yeah.
Again, this is MCU collectors page. Yeah, I don't know.
Good.
I mean, this is from far away. I guess we're like at a higher angle here, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, those are some pretty big old helmets. I don't know. I
Hey,
have
those
the Green Ranger over here, and it's like yours. I mean, it's like your White Ranger. Like it looks good.
yeah,
So it might be a trick of the camera.
those look like double joints on the knees.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm gonna build a little command center dio for them with a. I have the Lightning Collection Zordon thing,
Oh
so I'm
yeah,
gonna integrate that. I was gonna build one, then I found out you could just get that, and I was like, well, I'll save myself a day
yeah.
of work. But Crimson Rain says that's the same reason I haven't got one yet. Yeah, like I think I mean, there's certain stuff that I want to do with a 3D printer, mostly just making my own head sculpts. But as far as like, I mean, if there's enough stuff still available via eBay, like I'll wait the 2 weeks to get it from China, and like I tend to get more out of trying to figure out how to scratch build something with like found parts than I do out of like, let me just automate it, which is
But
a
you're
big
getting
part of
into
why I haven't done it.
3D sculpting though.
Yeah, and that is definitely I want to. I'm gonna. You know what? Maybe I'll pay you to print them or something, and we can do a little joint venture of head sculpt production or something.
Yeah.
Because like
Are you
that way,
sculpting through ZBrush?
I was using Blender, but my plan is to get a new iPad and use
Nomad.
Nomad Sculpt. Yeah, a friend of mine was
Yeah.
really extolling the virtues of it, and I the hard part for me is just the learning curve of figuring out the software. Like the sculpting
Yeah.
part, I've been sculpting most of my life, so like, and I work digitally on drawing, so like that part of it comes easy. It's just like learning the stuff. I'm such a luddite sometimes that I'm just like I'd rather just make shit out of garbage. Like, shout out to William Britton. Thank you for joining us, my friend. Ab crunch time. He likes to joke with me because when I made those turtles, I was like, they don't have ab crunch, but they're turtles, and he just thought he got a kick out of the idea that like ab crunch is such a thing that people are into. So he likes to joke with me about it. And then Figure Fortress says there's some zoom in photos floating around the Mezco group. Blue Ranger helmet size was ridiculous. Okay, so maybe they are a little big. We'll see.
No.
um,
No.
this was cool though. A seamless Godzilla. I mean, apart from the hands, the wrist joints or whatever, but yeah, I mean, it looks like Mezco's still leaning into that seamless stuff.
Oh
they
yeah,
did,
like
like with Alien and
yeah.
I was telling my friends last night we were looking at this, and like to me, if I get a Godzilla, I want it to be true 1/12 scale. I want it to be like
Oh yeah.
3 feet tall or however.
Like
So,
literally a man in the suit, full grown man in a rubber
yeah.
dinosaur suit.
Yeah, I guess it would be about 6 feet tall, wouldn't it? If it were probably like
Yeah.
actual scale. So I guess I'll never have a Godzilla. And then the blank. I didn't know. I was informed this is a Dick Tracy guy. I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, okay. So there's lore behind this one. Yeah, it's a real Dick Tracy character. But okay, so the 1990-91 Dick Tracy movie, the one that had Warren Beatty doing everything in it.
Yeah.
So the toy line behind that, there was a figure called the Blank, and the movie didn't do too hot. Thus, the toys didn't do too hot, but they still had like one last wave of figures or one figure to release, or that was already in production and it was like already on like the trucks or whatever. But stores didn't want any of that crap anymore. This movie bombed, took up valuable shelf space and all that. So this figure of the Blank became the rarest. I think it still is to this day one of the rarest action figures.
Oh, really? Who
Yeah.
put those out? Was that Kenner back then, or was that someone else?
That was that was Hasbro.
Hasbro. Okay.
I believe it was Hasbro. Yeah. But the lore behind that is it was super rare, but the character was Madonna, and I believe the figure itself had like a removable mask, and I think it was a Madonna head sculpt for as much accurate 1990 technology could make a Madonna head sculpt. Or maybe I'm just Mandela affecting myself about the Madonna thing, but I just wanted to make a joke about this figure and ask if it comes with a Madonna head sculpt.
Wait, so Hasbro released this figure, and you could take the head off
Yes,
theoretically, or
I
as you
believe
remember it,
so.
and there's a Madonna underneath.
I believe so. It was like a full blown Madonna figure.
That's wild.
The blank Dick Tracy action figure Madonna.
Crimson Ray says, didn't it turn out Madonna was the blank in the movie? I've never actually seen that movie, so I can't confirm or deny that.
There you go. Found it. Okay.
You want to
present? Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'll stop sharing, and then you can. Also, real quick, William says, happy to be here. Sorry I wasn't there. Hey, man, whenever you get here, buddy, it's all good. I appreciate it.
Okay. Okay. God. Can you see this?
Let's see. Let me add you to the stage. There we go. Oh, wow. You know, I do vaguely remember something about this, like, just in the sort of my general awareness of this as a kid, and like,
Yeah.
you know, even though I never saw the movie. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's, I wonder that if this was something from the actual comics though, or if it was just like that was something they did in the movie.
If it was just something from the movie, that would be a really deep cut fan service
Right.
on the part of Mezco.
Now, I'm curious about this figure too. Let me
About the blank.
bring this guy back up here. Yeah, because like I don't know if they're doing like a proportion thing with this, or like because look how low the pants look. Like this could just be a shadow somehow, or like if it, you know, is this like cartoon proportions? I don't know, because
right.
the other three figures from this line so far, Dick Tracy, Flat Top, and Prune Face, are all like normal bodies, I think,
Right.
just with cartoon heads. So yeah,
maybe they're
figure
leaning
forces.
into the that it's a woman in disguise. Maybe they're leaning into that.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, it's a cool looking suit. That'd be one to maybe get for fodder too, right? For
Yeah.
your Mad Men guys. Figure Fortress
Yeah.
says literally the question custom recipe. Yeah, I think a lot of people are probably going to just get that and make it the question in their collection. William has a question for us. What was the figure that got the both of you into premium action figure collecting?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think for me, there it's a twofold answer, but they're both figures of the same thing. So I ordered the Hot Toys Man of Steel Superman. I pre-ordered that when it first went up. I don't remember how I learned about Hot Toys, but I knew that they were making that, and it was going to be the best like quality Superman figure, most realistic that had ever come out at that time, as far as I knew. So I pre-ordered that, and that definitely got me, you know, like ordering a few figures in that vein. But I had gotten into collecting NECA figures when the NECA Turtles came out, and then I just kind of was like, oh, I really like these, and I got into customizing, and they were pretty easily swappable parts and stuff, and then I picked up a Mezco 112 BVS Superman, and I was like, oh, like I gotta, this is the new wave for me now. Like I soft goods, like actual little costumes, like I got, so that was the one that really broke the dam for me. But what about you?
SH Figure Arts Darth Maul. This is around the time when Force Awakens was happening. So the Star Wars merch floodgates were back open, and I had a little more disposable income, and I figured, this looks dope. Oh, and it comes from Japan. Yeah, I'll just buy one. Yeah, what could be the harm? It's a great Darth Maul figure. I can pose. I can just have it on my desk. I've always loved Star Wars. I've always loved toys. Yeah. And that was 2015, I think. 2015, 2016. And if I unblur my background,
figures, man.
It did not, spoiler alert, it did not just stay with me buying that Darth Maul.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? That's a good, I picked up the Justice League SH figure art Superman because I would pretty much just get like whatever nice iterations of Superman that caught my eye, that came out, and that was one of them. And then I was like, ooh, maybe I should get more of these. So I picked up a few, Wonder Woman, and eventually I
Yeah.
had the whole Justice League setup, a mix of that and Mafex. But yeah, I guess it was SHF and Mezco were kind of my first two like premium ones. Yeah, William says, "I'll just buy one." Famous last words.
Famous last
Yeah,
words.
that's how it goes. Joe says, "Take that mask off," and it's Madonna. Yeah, we were just talking about that. So yeah, Ibrahim loving Superman, impossible. Yeah, you know what? He's my guy. No matter what
Speaking of
how I try to
Superman,
extricate myself.
and speaking of projects that we might both be
Yes.
working on.
Yeah. So this is kind of the first time I think I've had like a sort of a joint like custom project with somebody. We both have been sending each other pictures of the Superman Legacy set pics and stuff, and going over the suit. And we we both ordered the same head, and from China, of a little David Cornswet. And yeah, we're gonna be. I was telling him, I was like, it's like we're both pregnant at the same time, and we're gonna have babies that are the same age as each other. Like,
We're gonna have we're just gonna do throw the same gender reveal party.
right.
Have a co-gender reveal party.
Crimson, you working on one as well? Is that what the same indicates? I'm very excited to see that. Yeah, we're both using different stuff for the most part. Like I think we might be using like the same body and
Yeah.
different suits and
Crimson,
things like that.
Crimson,
Um,
are you getting a suit made?
Joe says she was, yes.
I'll let
Madonna.
Crimson take a minute to answer that.
Yeah.
Because I think Crimson he's one with he did the what's his name, Hancock. He got the Hancock figure, and he
yeah,
got
and
the
actually I'm gonna pull that up so we can take a look at that because I absolutely love that figure. And he just did his Superman Maniple one recently, or yeah, Maniple Superman. Here we go. He got the Valhalla Customs cape on there. I have mine. I got the other day. I just haven't opened it yet.
same. Actually, mine's right here.
Did yours take like a month to get to you?
No, it took about a week and some change.
That's wild.
But
Yeah, man.
you have to like sign for it. Well, in your case, it just gets to your PO box.
Yeah.
Damn it.
He sent it pretty quick. Like the turnaround was fast. So nothing on him for that. I mean, it took. He's in Mexico, and it took like a month to get through customs and eventually get it up here. But yeah, let's see.
That's sick. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to do dry brushing.
Yeah, get a little metallic blue also, because sometimes silver makes it look a little chalky if you don't.
Is that what you recommended in your video to do metallic blue?
I don't know what Crimson did here, but it looks perfect. So, I mean, if that's just silver, then
wow,
I'm full of it. But yeah, he really nailed the subtlety and like the muscle grouping and stuff. It looks really good. But yeah, let me pull up that Hancock real quick. Here we go. Yeah.
Sick.
And that's a New Toys suit that he. Now, Crimson, did you add this yellow, or was that on there? I meant to ask you about that. He says still in the works of how to do so as far as building the suit for Superman. Yeah. And then he says his took a long time. He didn't have to sign for it, but it took a while to get here. And then Joe, she was like the holiday killer in Long Halloween.
I'm definitely not watching Dick Tracy now.
Yeah. Let me pull up the static shots of this too. I think he really nailed the head paint on this. It looks so good.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is on the Roman key body, I believe he said. I didn't pick up any of those, but I really like the proportions. It looks nice. Yeah, he absolutely nailed it. He really. My favorite part about this, and this is because I'm me and I pay attention to this kind of thing, the hairline. Like he absolutely nailed that hairline. Like the lineup on Will Smith is like, and I remember in that movie too, because he like shaves by going like this with his fingernails and stuff. And like I remember thinking, so he must have like lined himself up. Like he like took his fingernail and like, you know, so he says, yeah, he used some blue as well, and also the yellow was already on there for the suit. Yeah, I haven't gone back and looked at exactly what the suit looked like, but like in as far as how I remember it, like this is it right here. So I love how you did that. Yeah, let me go back to MCU collector because I wanted to show. I think he had something else on here. Oh yeah, so I'm not a horror movie guy, but this guy looks cool. Art the Clown from Terrifier. Do you collect any horror stuff or no?
I don't. I used to have that Michael Myers figure.
Yeah,
And I
the Mezco
sold
one
the.
that they put out.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I really, I want Pennywise. I've almost bought that Pennywise several times. I thought the first movie was pretty cool. I never saw the second one, the new It movies, but like, there's something about a really good, like soft goods
Tailored
112 figure.
figure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I just want it on principle, like it
Yeah.
doesn't even have to be something sometimes that I'm like super into. Case in point, this looks rad. Like that Mezco seems to be really stepping up their tailoring, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a very naturalistic
Yeah, that ain't no
pose.
John Wick suit.
Yeah. That was a low point, man. That was really rough. You're very welcome, Crimson. Thank you for making a dope figure, man.
Yeah, you killed it, dude.
Yeah. Let's see. Figure Fortress says, I got a feeling Mezco will do the super suit of Corn Sweat with all the lines, a little over design going on. Yeah, yeah. Let me pull you up here. Oh, wait, hang on. Whoops. How do I? There we go. So that is the Cyclops suit from the Jim Lee Cyclops, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I hit it with some Angelus blue. Might have been like sky blue or something, but it's definitely not the same blue as the stock suit was.
Yeah, that looks great, dude. And that's on the NW body.
Yeah, which I think I'm gonna have to see how this looks on a VToys body. But I think it's pretty stretched out as it is, so I don't think it's going to be successful on a VToys body. But the reason why I'm doing that is because I got this emblem in that is a little bit big. Oh, no, it's a Superman Returns one. Here we go.
Yeah, to my point earlier, These Damn Toys is always sending me resources, and he found us some capes for this figure, and the same seller on eBay has like these. Would you call it a decal? What is that? I mean, it's like a vinyl sticker.
Decal, vinyl. Yeah.
Yeah, but, and what a journey getting that thing, but they look good.
An incredible journey. Yeah, but yeah, it's a smidge too large for this body. I'm not sure how well it'll scale on a VToys body, but I know the VToys has just like a broader upper body to begin with, though.
Have you compared that to the BMS S shield?
I have. Oh yeah. The BMS shield is smaller, but still the BMS shield takes up still like a lot of real estate on this torso.
Yeah, V Toys might be the way to go for that thing. I feel like it's a little it's maybe a little bit bulky, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like I think everything will fit better on it. So yeah, but yeah, I hope Mezco makes one. I might have to rescind my rule. I don't know who buys these, but shout out to the Living Dead dolls, I guess. Here's a little better look at these Power Rangers. These heads do look large. Not so much
Zach,
on Zach
yeah, Zach
here.
looks
Yeah.
okay. Uh, but yikes, yikes,
Yeah.
yikes, yikes!
And
What
that
the
could be, I mean, you see this gap here, like it might be that you need to just like pull the head forward, like it's like on the ball. Weird,
Okay,
you know, you need to do that with it. But um yeah, I don't know.
that
That looks
yeah.
still a little big, but better. Yeah, I don't know, man. If they bungle this one too, it's gonna be like, come on, guys. This is the Power Rangers are the most perfect thing for Mezco to make,
Yeah,
right? Like given what they do, and I feel like if they don't get that right, then you know, I don't know, man. I feel like the Green Ranger might look a little better, and like the White Ranger because he's got
the
the shoulder
shield.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was something else that I saw that he was sharing that I thought looked cool. Oh, we definitely got to shout out Wade, aka Unparalleled Universe. He's got his figure that of Odious, his original character. It's like a Bigfoot guy um, debuting at San Diego, and this is a new design that he's putting out. So he kickstarted this figure and got it successfully funded, and he's got the new ones in hand, and then this is like another variant. So I don't know if this is coming soon to Kickstarter. So it's pretty cool. You know, he's a YouTuber figure reviewer, and like he's carving a path for himself in making his own figures, which is pretty dope.
I wonder if Rebel 10 also helped out with the soft goods for that guy.
I yeah, was it Harker Customs was doing some stuff too, right? Or do I have that wrong? Maybe not.
That I'm not sure about.
But yeah, he's got a
Either
plushie
way,
figure too.
that's like out of like the two figures wearing army fatigue suits that I've seen over the past day. This is the one that's I'm more impressed by
Yeah.
instead of Jeff
Yeah.
Johns's little vanity property.
Right. Yeah, it's like it's less interesting when it's a rich guy with a bunch of
Yeah,
connections versus like a dude who's like, you know, a dad and like works a full-time job and you know, has like he's always Wade's also been really cool to me in the community and, you know, like very supportive. So I'm definitely excited for him. I backed the Kickstarter for Odious, but at the time I was like between gigs and so I didn't have like the disposable income to do the full figure. So I still like contributed to the Kickstarter. So I'm excited that there's another one that I can actually like do the full funding on and you know pick it up. A couple of comments here I want to get through real quick. Let's see here. Figure Fortress says really cool to have a comic book mask to display the Jim Carrey version. Yeah, that is cool actually. I didn't pre-order it, but you know if I see somebody selling one, I might pick it up because I think it's a I lost the place on where it is now. But yeah, it's a cool looking figure. Um, Joe says, even imagining a head inside of that helmet, those look big. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, and there's not actually a head inside of it, right? So like, it's just a head sculpt. So I don't know why it ended up being that big, but they do look proportionate with these others. So like the two they've already put
yeah,
out.
yeah.
So it'll be interesting. But either way, man, I mean, to have this pop of color on the shelf, like,
Oh yeah,
it's gonna look so cool because so many of these characters are wearing black, right? The ones that we have figures of, you know, all your Batman's black and gray, and you know maybe
yeah.
dark blue, and like
Your
you know
Neos.
a lot of street clothes figures I make are like usually wearing dark clothes, you know, like the ones that are based on movies and stuff. So it'll be
Yeah.
nice to have those like those pops over there. And then William asks if did you see Mignola is going to be our Rose City Comic Con? I did. Yeah, he's Shout out to Mignola. Very prolific, obviously. And I have the Mezco Hellboy from the David Harbour movie. That's a great figure, dude. I don't know if you got that one, but
No, I passed on that because it came out around the same time as the Thousand Toys comic Hellboy.
oh yeah, did you get that one or
Oh yeah, yeah. That's and that
yeah?
dope. That's a dope figure, and it's looks like it's getting a re-release.
I think they're doing like a Lobster Johnson and a Ape Sapien too. It looks like.
Yeah,
I'm not a GI Joe guy. I don't know about you. Is that anything something you collect or?
I was. I did the whole hype when it came out in like 2020 and checking Pop Finder to see if Target got the troop guys in and showing up with all the other nerds at 6 a.m. at Target to
Yeah.
bug the person to get the case from the back. But yeah, after that, I don't know. They just kept on releasing stuff, and I couldn't keep up with it.
They
And
really, I mean, they're like, well, yeah, 144 deep
good
now.
God, oh my God,
I mean, is that an actual? I think that's the actual number, right? Maybe
like
somebody
the
in the
release
chat
number?
would
Yeah,
know.
I think so.
Yeah, like that's a lot, man. I mean, my friend Alan, who's in here, he's got a lot of them, and I don't think he even has all of them. And I'm like, he's got like more than you can shake a stick at. So I don't. I mean, I can imagine. But yeah, this is cool. I mean, anytime there's a vehicle that comes out, I'm pretty excited, even if it's not something I'm going to get, just because it kind of gives me hope that we might start getting more.
Yeah,
There's another shot of it here. I think they have another thing coming out too that it's like a plane or a jet
yeah,
that
it's like
just dropped.
like the Cobra plane that all the grunts, the minions fly around and easily get disposed of in.
Yeah, I think Oh, here it is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so Alan, he gets a lot of the vehicle stuff too, and they're big. you really gotta
Wow.
you really gotta have somewhere to put them.
Oh yeah,
This
that
thing
could
is
fit.
rad though.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it folds up, takes up a little less space. This is cool though, man. I mean, I would be tempted to get this for like a Top Gun setup, even though it's not like the right jet.
Uh huh.
Maybe repaint it. Yeah, this is cool,
Oh, that's sick.
right? I think the rest is just patches and stuff. Oh man, my boy Jay Nystrom. What's going on, brother? Wonderful guy. Met Mignola at Rose City years ago. Was super kind with his time, even though his line was long. That's cool to hear, man. Like, I would hope that he would be like that, but you never know. Jay's a guy I've known for years through comics and conventions and stuff, and he's a good dude. I'm very happy to see you here, Jay. Thank you, man, for coming. And yeah, okay. So Joe says that's an actual number. And if you Army Build Troopers, it's a lot. Yeah, God, I didn't even think about that.
Oh my God.
Wow. Imagine you get, you know, 30 troopers or, what do you call those guys? The
The
Cobra
army builders.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
the army builder. Good.
and they're hard to find too in that kind of plurality, I would imagine too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, E Honda. We didn't look at him yet either. That's another one I'm trying to figure out. I'm going to use like a Yokozuna WWE figure, I think, for the base for this guy when I make mine. But
there really aren't enough fat boy fodder bodies.
no, like the Texas Chainsaw Mezco figure people were getting because he kind of has the paunch on him,
Yeah.
But yeah, we could use some girthier fodder stuff. I think there's a few things in wrestling that work, but yeah, like those are generally 7-inch scales. So,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, so speaking of fodder and customs, I did want to talk a little bit more about custom stuff. And actually, I wanted to show you. I told you I was gonna show you my what I did with the Jason Momoa
Yeah.
figure. So
Show us.
I'll pull up a before real quick here. So I've been dune pilled, as my friend Ramon says, and I made my custom Paul Atreides recently, and I'm kind of going down the rabbit hole on a bunch of Dune stuff. So It looks like I can't pull up the photo, but anyway, um, I use the still suit Duncan Idaho figure, and I redid the head. Let me see if I can get this on camera.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
So I made this version of Duncan when he's like, I'll try to
Fighting off the starter
yeah,
car.
the Sardaukar, and he's like, "To hell, dogs!" It's probably not going to show up, but I'll post some pictures of it. I'm going to be doing a video on it, but yeah, basically, I got some pants from GPS Lot, and I dyed them to be more of a blue green, and then a shirt that I made kind of that cream color that he has on. And I don't know if this will show up, but I made his little shield.
Yeah.
It probably won't.
Oh,
There we go.
nice. Oh,
Then,
sick.
thank you. And then on the back, he has his like levitator belt thing. I don't know what it's
Yeah.
called. Um, and I used like just some parts from like a car model I had, like a 124 scale Mustang that I'm always like kind of butchering for parts, and I kind of made something that looks similar to what he has in the movie. Um, and then I did my yarn thing with his hair, and there's a really good Jason Momoa head sculpt under that crappy factory paint. Yeah, sorry, this isn't working out super well. We're getting to a point now with the light in here that if I turn this off, I look like I'm like one of those like witness protection people in like a documentary. Yeah, he that was the last time I ever saw him, and he was just the greatest guy, man. I mean, everybody loved him. He didn't have an enemy in the world. Who'd want to do this
Blurred
to
face. Yeah. Modular
him?
face. Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be sick. That's gonna be a sick figure. And
Thank you,
yeah,
man.
yeah. There's not really a lot of clean shaven Jason Momoa head sculpts out
It's the
there.
only one. Yeah, I mean, maybe the old Funko one from
Like
Game of
Stargate.
Thrones, but figure
Oh no,
figure
he would have
Fortress.
had
Thank you.
the. He would have had
Yeah, he had
the.
like the braided thing.
Yeah, like the
Um,
Genghis Khan beard.
yeah, exactly. Thank you, Crimson. I appreciate it, man. So speaking of customs, I want to do kind of I guess we're getting a little close to 2 hours, so we'll probably make this the last stretch of it here. But I want to do kind of a little rapid. Oh, I guess I'm still up. Just me, aren't I? There we go. I want to do a little kind of rapid fire round of questions for you about customs and
Oh, sweet.
yeah,
Like in those Men's Health fitness videos. So what's
yes,
the biggest compliment? Jacked,
yeah,
ripped, but
yeah. What's your go-to protein meal? Uh, I guess first of all, what is your favorite line to customize?
as much shit that I give them, Mezco.
Yeah. Do you do
Mezco.
much Mafex customs, or have you dabbled in that much? I
Just
mean, they're
yeah,
so expensive, right?
yeah, yeah. I don't think I've ever like did a full tearing apart a figure to make another figure that follows the Mafex parameters.
Right. Like they're
Um,
all a little bit different articulation wise sometimes
yeah,
too, and yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the
I,
occasional head swap though.
yeah. So okay, a quick aside question to that: do you have a favorite line to collect?
Mafex.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's my favorite line because not a lot of customizations necessary.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite custom that you've made?
Ooh, you know what? Yeah, I think it's going to be the aforementioned Batman Returns. Let me break that out.
All right, and got a comment from Paul while you're doing that. That's really good. Can't wait for the video. Would you consider doing his Aquaman look? Thank you very much, Paul. Yes, in fact, I have the Mezco Aquaman, and the plan is to take the hair off of that and do what I did with this one. So that is something I will get to eventually. So on the list. Yeah, dude. Oh wow. Okay, hang on. Let me full screen you here. Dude, that's so sick. So that's like, is that a neoprene bodysuit with that 3D
Yeah,
printed thing you were talking about earlier?
yeah, yeah. Neoprene body, 3D printed. Um, gauntlets and boots are from another kit. And I just got in this wired cape from Harker, so it's wired, which means it's not as sitting as flush as I'd like it to be. So I can like always put like a drape cape on this thing too.
Yeah, dude, that looks so good though, man. I mean, a little double stick tape under there, you know,
Oh
will set you
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, shout out to Legend Series. What's up, Tony? He says, "What's up, everyone?" So I recently met Legend Series, aka Tony, and he had me on his show. It's going up tomorrow, I believe, and he actually sent me a clip that I'll put up on my channel as like a hey, you know, as like a lead in to go to watch it on his channel. But yeah, great channel. He interviews people, you know, other customizers and collectors and stuff. And yeah, he's a videographer, so he does like for wrestling. So he does like really incredible
Oh,
editing and stuff. Yeah,
oh, sick.
great guy, super cool to talk to. Very down to earth guy, like very community oriented. Just wants to bring people together. So yeah, great dude, and go check out his channel for sure. Um, Joe says you can just hear the music as you lifted that up. I have the same like as a that's awesome. Um, Figure Fortress says these days when I'm looking at Jason Momoa, mostly I see Conan and Lobo. You know, I want to rewatch that Conan movie. I've seen it a couple times, and I don't remember how I felt about it because it's been a while. But he's perfect for that role. And dude, him as Duncan Idaho, like legit, I tear up every time he does this thing, you know, and that oh my god, like I think his acting in that is very subtle and it's so good. Like he has this look on his face of like sadness when he does that, and then you know when he's
Yeah,
here, and then when he brings it up, he kind of forces a
sadness
smile.
and defiance as well.
Yep, and like he knows he's protecting the family that he cares about, and like
Yeah,
that's what he was kind of born to do, and what you know, like
yeah.
oh man, dude,
You
I've watched Dune so many times.
are you did you get into like a deep dive about Dune after that,
Oh
and like
yeah,
about the sequels and
oh yeah.
okay,
I'm
okay. Well, I
listening
say any more
to
then.
yeah, I'm listening to the book right now. And then well not, you know, obviously not. Yeah, I'm actually I gotta go in here. Uh no, and then I've been watching a bunch of like videos about like the world of Dune and just like, you know, breakdowns of like the book series and like
Yeah.
yeah, I'm super into it, man. Alan says, I've got a lot of Joe, sadly. I got sucked in the line because of the 90s ninjas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Ninja Force. GI Joe Ninja Force. That's that was like the version of Storm Shadow that I really grew up with, where he was like a good guy and he led a team of ninja GI Joes. That Snake Eyes was part of this team, but Snake Eyes wasn't the leader. It was Storm Shadow, this ex Cobra uh, defector. But no, Mezco would kill it with a ninja GI Joe Storm Shadow. He's got like this digital pattern to him. Oh man, yeah, that would be sick.
Yeah, you know, I my GI Joe was a little bit before my time, and my father's from Egypt, so it's like we weren't really messing with like
Yeah,
military stuff, you know, like American military stuff. But my cousins played with it, and like I remember being like kind of nonplussed, and then I was like, "Yo, who are those ninjas? Let's talk about those
yeah,
ninjas real quick." So that was like,
yeah.
"Yo, the legend Kadeem Hardison, ladies and gentlemen." Storied actor, incredible character actor. He's going to be on the Ed Brubaker criminal, Ed Brubaker Sean Phillips criminal adaptation. He's
What?
in the chat. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us. This peace, fellas. Good chat. Either of you ever consider doing a static shot custom? Spitball some ideas. How would you go about it? That is a great question. Um,
It always starts with a head sculpt. If you can find a good
yeah,
sculpt, that can that'll
and you know something I'll do. I don't know if you've done this, but like there's a couple of eBay sellers like where we get you know a lot of heads from, right? Like 3D printed heads and stuff.
yeah,
And a lot of times, what I'll do is I will just like scroll through because I don't know what to search on their pages sometimes because it'll just be like either an actor's name or the character's
yeah.
name or you know, and so a lot of times I'll just scroll and see what they have, and if either I'm looking for something specific, like say I was making a Static Shock, or if I'm just like, let me see what jumps out at me as like if I a quick impression and I go, oh, that looks like such and such in my head, and I go, oh, I could use that to make a custom of that, even though that's not what the intended head sculpt was or whatever.
Yeah.
So I would probably look through there and see what they had. I think maybe like, I don't know. I mean, depending if you're going kind of cartoony, there's that like Hobie, what's his name from the Spider
Oh, from
Verse, the punk
Spider-Verse.
Spider
Yeah.
Punk. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's already got like the dreads and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think what I would do is find something that was like, a young enough looking guy, and I would make hair out of yarn for it. Like, uh, I've used that when I made a Killmonger custom. I used like black yarn to make like locks.
Yeah.
And then soft goods from GPS lot. I think you could probably find something similar, like close enough to like a Static Shock look.
Yeah.
The body is always the hard part, right? Because he's like younger, and there aren't really. That's something that's a real blind spot in figures right now. Is like different kinds of bodies, like diverse bodies.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like we
Yeah,
were saying earlier, like there's no fat boy bodies. There's
right,
there's just jacked, more jacked Hulk.
right, yeah, and like there's like as far as like women are concerned, like it's very hard to find a female body that isn't like
Oh
a
yeah. This is,
Fison
this
with
is,
just like
yeah.
absolute giant breasts on, so like yeah, I think there's a company that's starting to put out some or like they've solicited them, or they're not up for pre-order yet, but they said like these are coming. I don't remember who it was, but it looks like they're kind of going for like different bodies. And actually my friend Alan and I and our friend Sean talked about, and our friend Mikey, we were going to try to get together and like, how do we do this? And we just kind of lost the thread on it because we're all busy. But yeah, Kadeem, that's what I would do. And now you got me thinking about it, so I'm probably going to start looking online and see what's out there.
And, yeah, R.I.P. Dwayne McDuffie as well.
Yes. Yeah. Did you know he's Keegan Michael Key's half brother? They were half brothers, like, and they didn't know each other, I think.
No.
Yeah, Keegan Michael Key. I heard him say that in an interview. He found out that Dwayne McDuffie was his half brother.
Oh man.
Yeah. Figure Four just says if they decide to adapt all 6 Frank Herbert books, they're just going to milk the hell out of Momoa's Gola Duncan. I'll take it. I want as many movies as I can get out of this. I love Dune. Let's see. Lost my place here. Joe says maybe that Mezco Across the Spider-Verse Miles is coming out soon. Work. Actually, that would be a really good base. If you wanted more of like kind of like a animated style version. And Static Shock, a lot of people got into it through the cartoon, right? So I think that would be a pretty viable way to do it. Oh man, Eric Bass, what up, brother? Thank you for joining, sir. I love this guy. I've known this guy for like a decade. No, longer. 12, 15 years, something like that. Let's go. Thank you, Kadeem. I hope that was let me know if you're trying to make a Static Shock custom, we could talk about what you might do for that. I would love to, help source some parts and stuff. Big RIP Dwayne. That's the homie Ramon. Dwayne McDuffie, that is. Not to be confused with Dwayne Wayne, who Kadeem played on Different World. One of the coolest characters of all time. All right, so back to the rapid fire here.
Jacked, ripped, or cut.
What is a figure? What's that? Jacked,
ripped, or cut.
Oh yeah. Swole. No. What's a custom that you started and never finished?
God, what's not a custom that I've started and not finished.
Well, what's one that you were like excited about and then you just lost steam halfway through?
Oh man. Probably making another Superman on that GW Toys body, that like the really, really, really jacked one that's could be used for. Like my buddy Omega Doom, he's using it for Brock Sampson from Venture Brothers,
Oh
and you
yeah,
know that style, it's like
I made
huge
a I
upper
made a
body.
Batman. Yeah, I made a Batman animated series custom out of that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's great for that.
So yeah, I just had like a spare Superman suit and wanted to see how this body was. I was kind of inspired. I was looking up stylized Superman heads for it, and like kind of like an animated Mr. Incredible style. Couldn't find that one because once again, projects really gain steam when you can find a good head sculpture to kick things off.
Yep.
Starts at the top, figure out the rest later on as you go. Could have nailed that down. The suits really stretched out, so there was like a little bit of a tear when I was doing my Z stitching.
Sew it up and
yeah. And
yeah,
now
that spandex, dude. As soon as you put a hole in it, it wants to, it's hard to like keep that going. And So is it kind of just like a half sewn suit on a body without a head at this point, or did you like cannibalize it for other stuff?
It's still just suited figure with a hole like somewhere on like the really visible part of the leg too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no.
Well, you got a TheseDamnToys body, right? Next time you want to use one for something.
Yeah.
Real quick, Crimson says, "I remember the original comics, and that Miles body would be perfect." Yeah, I think I want to say Walt Simonson drew that. I could be misremembering though. I think my haven't finished it, quit halfway through. I need to get back to it. Figure is I was making a Carl Urban Judge Dredd, and it just requires a lot of sculpting, and I took Action Figure Customs, who we mentioned before, who sold headcasts. He had one of the Mezco Judge Dredd, so I got that, and I was augmenting the sculpt to fit or to be more realistic and not that sort of sort of triangle shape it is, with more And I got like a Ray Stevenson Punisher head to use as, because he's got that mouth, the scowling, grimacy mouth. Yeah. So I cut that and, was going to attach it to the bottom of that. And I was using a Mezco Netflix Daredevil body for the undersuit. And then I was sculpting the eagle and stuff. And it just was a lot of work. And I started chasing dopamine somewhere else, and I just need to get back to it. But I will finish that one day. And I want to make the Lawmaster form too. I think that'd be a cool thing to have on the shelf.
Yeah.
What is a figure that you wish existed that doesn't, that you haven't made yet?
Okay. Ooh. Wish it exists. Oh. Our boy, Timothy Dalton, 007.
Yes.
But which version? License to Kill with the Count Dracula V hairline,
right.
Or
I'm all about the Living Daylights, man. That's the one I want to do, and I don't want to do them in a tux. I have the Sideshow one that they put out 20 years ago or whatever, right? And from License to Kill, and I sourced, this is a 12-inch figure. I sourced a leather jacket and a knit sweater, a jumper as they would call it across the pond, and the slacks and stuff. And I was making that sort of casual version where he's with Miriam Diabo at her apartment. And stuff.
It's the one where he's on the DVD cover. That's the look.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I just my plan was to make the hairline, change the hair from the Dracula one to the coif, sort of and I just never. So that's on. I think I told you this on my list of priorities for making my own head sculpts.
Yeah.
Digitally, that's in the top 3. So maybe I'll do that soon, and we can both have our wish. Paul Maynard says Muff Toys. Yeah. I mean,
Muff Toys.
I hope so.
Next to Man Nipple, Maybe the best name for a toy
I
line.
know what is going on, dude. I really Legend series says he was such an underrated Bond. Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Dalton is my I Craig is probably the best Bond, but Dalton's my favorite. And
yeah.
I think his two movies are both really good. And
So
they
I
have
just
two of the best.
over here in Los Angeles, we've got a few revival theaters. One of them showed License to Kill, and I took a buddy, and it was a nice crowd for a Sunday, hot Sunday over here. But watching this with the crowd, and you're forced to focus on this movie. You can't be on your phone. You can't certainly talk to each other. There's moments in this movie where it would not fly today. When the informant CIA,
The bullets. Oh.
oh his Bond girl, the one that's the American Bond girl in that movie. I think her name's Carrie, the actress. When she's getting back in the plane, Bond's like grabbing her ass and just shoving her. And my buddy
there's
like,
there's also some, aside from the like, stuff, there's also like when the bullets ricochet and they're like ding 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 ding, they make the little Bond.
yeah. Oh yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's very of its time for sure, but like,
oh, speaking of ninjas,
yes.
Speaking
so
of
okay,
ninjas.
so Figure Fortress says Dalton should have had more than two movies. He really have the charm. Yeah, he was a very charming Bond, and I want to say the third movie they were going to do had ninjas and like a robot ninja in it or something. Like it was starting to get super 80s, and then so it's probably good that they didn't get around to that one because it would have been a little nuts. But Dalton was very much like Fleming's Bond. Like they were sticking way closer to like the source material with his version. And I think people weren't ready for it because Roger Moore was like a whole generation's Bond, and it was very campy, and they loved it, Okay, so this is a longer question, but I'm sure you've had this happen. What is a time where you've overpaid for something or bought something at a reasonable price and then saw it for way cheaper and you were like, man, like for a custom specifically?
Ooh. Okay. For a custom. Probably. Not quite the answer, but more of like if I had a time machine, I wish I bought more of them. Netflix Daredevil.
Yeah. I was snatching those up for a while, dude, because it was such a good base, and people were like undervaluing that figure. So, like I would just be like, well, I'll get another one,
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Yeah. I have a. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was really kicking myself for not picking up an extra one when I was making the Robert Pattinson Batman.
Yeah.
Because by the time that stuff for that was coming out, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I'll just use a Netflix Daredevil. He's got the padding and all that." Well, hell,
that's exactly what I used for mine.
The body. I think I bought the body for like 80 something bucks on eBay before shipping, before taxes.
Yeah,
just the body, not the hands, not anything else.
They went up.
Yeah, for good reason too, because it's also a really good figure.
I think it's one of absolutely the most underrated Mezco figures that has ever come out.
Yeah.
And I think people started to figure that out late in the game, and that's why all that happened. And the Mezco at like Toy Fair a few years ago, they had a big display that Crashbox Customs made, and they had Hydra agents that they made out of those Daredevils. And they were at least
when I saw that,
and I was like, yeah, there goes half the inventory right there.
Yeah,
right?
That's like 20 racks right there. 20 racks of income.
For real. Carrie Lowell. Yes, Paul. That is her name. Thank you, sir.
Yes, yes.
Model and actress from the
Beautiful,
80s.
beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful.
super. What a babe. Figure Fortress says, so who are your two favorite Bonds aside from Dalton? Mine are Connery and Brosnan. That's a good question. What do you what do you got for that one?
Well, I mean, this guy is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
And after this guy, you know what? It's kind of just, yeah, I guess Connery. Yeah, I guess Connery. Roger
Yeah, I
Moore's
think
definitely nowhere on my list.
yeah. I think that's a good question. I mean, there are only so many to choose from, right? But I would say definitely Craig and probably Brosnan. I don't like the Brosnan movies all that much, but I like Pierce Brosnan a lot, and I think that he was a good Bond. I don't think they gave him great material like to put that
Yeah,
Bond in.
yeah,
But yeah, like I do like Connery obviously, but I just they're a rough watch these days with a lot of the like stuff that's of its time, you know. And like I find myself like I really like Doctor No as a Bond movie. I like it adheres to the book really closely, and like I think it's just like as an exercise of watching the first Bond movie and seeing this movie that like really set the tone for so much that came after it. Like I really enjoy that one, but a lot of the Connery ones are kind of tough. Like Goldfinger
yeah,
is like it's an iconic film, but it's a snooze fest for a lot of the time. And like
yeah,
Thunderball, they're just fighting underwater for like an hour. I'm like, all right, you
yeah.
know. Um, so something I overpaid for uh recently, I bought a bunch of the McFarlane Dune stuff because I was late to the party. And then I wouldn't say I overpaid for it, but this is what sparked the question because I was piecing them together, trying to find the best deal. And, you know, as you would, and then like two people put up pretty much everything I needed on Mercari in one lot, and they were like $50, $70. And I was like, like I was getting them one at a time, and now Mercari's charging all these like
Right.
buying fees, you
Yeah,
know, and it
I
was
was
just
about to
like
ask. Yeah, really? You're still messing with Macari?
not as much, dude. I used to buy heavy on Mercari, and nowadays with how much they're charging for stuff, it's got to be something that's like a really good deal or something that I like have been looking for. Other than that, like I just kind of browse for fun, you know.
Yeah.
Um See, Joe says Craig and Dalton 1 and 2 most like the books. Agreed. Yeah. Um Paul Maynard, Figure Fortress, yes. Like them also Lazenby more were good. Yeah, Lazenby, you know, I thought he was a pretty good Bond, even though he only had one outing. And then Joe says Connery and Brosnan after that. I think that's fair. You know, something about Roger Moore, I do think he's the most important movie Bond in a lot of ways because he was the guy who was able to follow Connery
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and he set the tone after to where like everyone after him was a reaction to him, right? Like
Yeah.
Dalton came in and was like, okay, we got to do serious Bond. And then Brosnan came in and he was like, I'm going to be a mix of all of them. And then Craig came in and there were certain nods to it. So it's like, you know, and I mean, a whole generation of dads took a whole generation of sons to see Roger Moore Bond movies. And those are the guys now who are like, it's too serious. So very important in the Bond legacy, I think. Um, all right, and then to wrap it up, what is your favorite kind of custom to make? Like superhero, movie or TV figure, you know, like soft
Um,
goods.
favorite kind of custom, a a live action Batman,
Yeah,
live action, Batman. And I hope my I'm I've been trying to work and complete a quote unquote soft goods Kilmer Panther suit figure for over a
nice.
year now.
Yeah,
So
you showed me the
it's
heads you
maybe,
got for that. Yeah,
yeah, and it's once again it all starts with the head sculpt, but now it's about kind of tinkering with scaling the armor on my own because I kind of want to learn how to mess around with that too.
yeah,
Um, but no, hopefully it doesn't fall into the pile of customs that you never ever finish.
Right.
Hanging out with all the other unpainted, decapitated heads I've got in the pile over there.
But I think for you, because I know that Panther suit is a big one for you. I think that's something that even if you have to set it aside, you'll end up coming back to it just from like sheer like love of that version. That one is pretty underrated. I think a lot of people want a figure of that, and I see it in the comments on like Hot Toys when they release a Batman, like Panther suit when and that kind of stuff. So yeah, hopefully they end up doing. Is that, I know you don't do a ton of Hot Toys these days. Is that one you're gonna get first? Like, is that like a day one pre-order if they do that?
If they do a Kilmer Panther suit? I won't even order it from Sideshow, because they would get their batch in like months after the Asian markets would get it. I would go find an Asian vendor and pay the DHL shipping costs to get it straight from Hong Kong. I don't think you get like the brown shipper box, because that's like a US only type thing. And like Hot Toys collectors are weird about that. Oh, where's the shipper? Right. I didn't get it. I didn't get it from Sideshow. So I would definitely get it from
a brown box if you want, dude. You know?
Yeah.
Has no value, but go, you know, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one I would definitely get ASAP.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be worth it. And oh god, next to that Jazz Inc. Batmobile, like, that would look incredible with the lights coming off it and stuff.
Yeah,
right on. Well, my friend, thank you again for joining me on this first live stream on my channel, dude. I really appreciate it, and yeah, it was good to like really like verbalize this stuff instead of like tapping away like we do in DMs. So
giving each other and David Cornsweat set photos.
Yes. Although I'm not saying don't do that. Yeah. But everyone in the chat, thank you guys so much for coming through and hanging out with us and, you know, contributing to the conversation. Super appreciate it. And this is a lot of fun. Planning to do this at least once a month. I want to try to do last Thursdays. And maybe first and last. And then yeah, more of this, you know, guests coming on, like, you know, just talking about stuff we're working on, stuff we like. You know, I don't want to focus too much on like the consumerism aspect of this, because like that's not the fun, I think, for a lot of us. It's like the nostalgia and like the craft and all that. So yeah, man. Ramon, thank you, sir. Great stream, he says. Much appreciated. Paul, good first live. Thank you, my friend. And Ramon says, love to hear you guys talk about this stuff I don't know much about. So fascinating, but the passion comes through. Man, thank you. I appreciate it. And, you know, Ramon and I talk a lot, and I don't always bring this stuff up because I don't know how interesting it is to people. So Figure Fortress, really have a good time here. Man, thank you. I really appreciate you coming. Joe, great show, guys. Thank you, dude. You guys really made this a lot of fun. You know, I mean, we could have just done this, just the two of us on a Zoom call or something, but having you all pitching in and chatting with us was great. So, yeah, probably next month around the same time, and I'll post on the YouTube channel and on Instagram when this is going to go up. If you're not following These Damn Toys, give him a follow. He posts really cool photography stuff of his figures. He posts, you know, the customs he's working on. No, your photography stuff is great, man. Like,
thank you.
You seeing your stuff is what made me want to like step up my ability to just photograph like a still shot of a figure I made, because I was like,
thank you.
This ain't cutting it. So yeah, man.
Thank you.
I love that we can, you know, that's my favorite thing about this hobby is like when people kind of push each other and give back to one another. It's like reciprocated and not just like being stingy about details and, you know, stuff like that. So all right, well, that's going to do it. I really want to thank everybody, and until next time, I'll do my
Can I say it? Can I say it? Can I say it?
Oh. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right.
Both of us. Yeah.
All right. Keep your head on a swivel.
Keep your head on a swivel.
All right. Thanks, everybody.